Welcome to Be Better Every Day, the podcast where we talk about self-improvement, mental health, relationships, the ups and downs of becoming the best versions of ourselves.
We're your hosts, Josh and Mac, just two friends on a journey to level up in life, get in shape, and break free from bad habits, one day at a time.
No fake motivation, no perfection, just real talk, real struggles, and real growth.
So if you're working on yourself, figuring life out, or just need a little extra motivation, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, I was just going to say something. What? Y'all sound like robots.
Well, you try reading. We're better off the dome. We have our first guest today.
Yep, my daughter Ella's joined us today. We're going to talk about parenting, raising kids, families, all the ups and downs that come along with it.
You're right, sir.
So, you want to give a shout out? I'll let you do the shout outs.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to all of our podcast listeners. You would think that our most listened to podcast would be here in the United States, but no. Eagle Schloven, Limburg, Germany has 13% of our downloads, and we're so appreciative. A couple other guys, Ontario, Canada, Seymour, Indiana, Salt Lake City, Utah, Carrollton, Texas, Longmont, Colorado, Irvine, California, Dallas, Texas, Memphis, shout out to Elvis, Va Beach, Waynesboro, Pinellas Park, Florida, and Tokyo, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Number one countries listened to would be the United States, the Netherlands, the UK, Japan, Russian Federation, the Ukraine, Mexico, and Canada. Shout out to the Ukraine. We're obviously getting people through the war here, helping people on the front lines. Be safe. We're with you.
They're listening to us on the front line.
You don't know. We're worldwide.
You don't know. Yeah, podcast worldwide. International podcast. No, Ella, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. We're happy to sit down and talk with you.
You're so welcome. I know it's an honor to speak to me in these trying times.
Of being your parent, or is that the trying times, or just where we're at?
The Ukraine.
So if you're having a hard time hearing Ella, we are a dual mic podcast. We're definitely sharing a microphone here. But we're going to sit down and talk today about raising kids, maybe share some funny stories along the way, give you our point of views, and talk about parenting going forward. Because I think Josh and I are both entering new times of parenting. We're both reaching, I guess, as your kids get older, we're reaching areas that we've never crossed into before, and navigating the struggles and the minefield that is raising young adults.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a half empty nester, I guess, when he goes to school, but he comes home on the weekend, so I don't know. We're on summer break right now, so
I'm dreading the empty nest. I am. I like having the kids around.
Yeah, because like Nate's like my best friend, so when he's not around, it's like, oh man, I gotta talk to other people. Yeah, adults suck.
So, I'll just start out. I have 3 kids. I have a 17-year-old son named Noah, a soon-to-be 15-year-old daughter, Ella, who's here with us today, and then an 8-year-old baby princess, Rue, who's going to be 9 next month. And
a baby princess.
Is slowly growing.
A Disney movie.
Slowly growing out of the phase where she thinks her dad's the coolest thing in the world. So Ella's already come to that realization that I'm not the coolest thing in the world anymore. But
You're still up there.
Now it's me, then you. I'm definitely the coolest.
Okay, no one said that.
Well, everyone knows that I'm the coolest.
So, and like Josh said, he's got one son, Nate, who's 19 now.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah. So, and Josh is just finished navigating the first year of college and coming back home for the summer and trying to figure out things as a young adult. And I'm figuring out things. My 17-year-old son, like we talked about before, has high functioning autism. And so it's kind of guiding him into young adulthood and figuring out what his future is going to look like for him. Because being non-neurotypical or neurodivergent, whatever you want to call it, there's different struggles and obstacles that he has to meet with that, people with neurotypical kids typically don't have to deal with. So.
Yeah, you get the gambit. You get a little bit of both worlds. I only get the boy. Luckily, I get to be present in my niece and nephew's life enough that I can still parent a little bit. I still take advantage of that.
I know I'm not at the when I talk about my kids, Noah, while he does definitely have he does have some of his own struggles, with his autism. His autism allows him, things to be able to do things that I can't even fathom. The way his brain works and his memory and, just the way that the cogs turn on the wheel for him is so much different than it does for the rest of us. And it's cool to see him navigate things in his own way. And Ella is 14, going on 15, and that comes with attitudes and opinions, and more recently, boyfriend, which
Oh my god.
as a dad, it's hard to, think about your daughter dating. And so that's become, something that I'm having to get used to. A boy that wants to come hang out at the house. And I'm cool with them hanging out at the house because, while I don't have to be on top of them all the time or, standing over them all the time, I think having parents there definitely sets boundaries, healthy boundaries. All right, so we're back. So we were talking about Noah and trying to navigate, him turning 18 and, is he going to be able to make his own medical decisions? Does he want to make his own medical decisions? We talked about maybe entering a guardianship, so where we still kind of maintain, the ability to go to his medical appointments with him and, trying to help him understand things that are socially difficult for him. But also just seeing how smart he is and how he's able to figure things out and how he has like the drive and determination to like, if he finds something he's interested in, to like mastering it, and then like I said, with Ella being 14 and coming with attitudes and opinions and most recently boyfriends, that's been difficult for me, realizing that one day, I may not be the most important man in her life,
Yeah.
and then still trying to navigate holding on to that for Rue, where she still thinks that her dad's a superhero for as many faults that I have and everything that, I'm still like the person that she looks up to. And she is now taking swim lessons, and swim has been something that she's always been real apprehensive around the water, which is for kids to have a healthy apprehension to water is
Yeah, better
okay.
that than not.
Than just being wide open and not knowing how to swim. This is the first year she's ventured off the steps and going through the swim lessons. They're teaching her how to jump into the water and stuff. And that how, if you do go into the water and it's maybe deeper to like, to bounce off the bottom and, to jump off the bottom and then come up and get a breath of air and reorient yourself and find the wall and how to climb up safely on the wall. The other day, and like, she still does not want to put her head under the water, which is okay. It'll come with time. But the other day she jumped in and she kind of hit one of the lane line things in the water, so it's kind of slick, and her foot slipped, and she did go under, but she popped right back up. She stood up, she found the wall or whatever, and so to see her overcome that fear and know that she's going to be okay, like, oh my gosh, this is something I didn't want to happen, I didn't plan to happen, because there's going to be not just swimming, but other things in life where a decision or something out of the blue is going to happen where...
Well, all of us, there's times where our heads go under the water, and then we got to find our way back.
Whether physically or metaphorically.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And so those are, to see her, like, jump off the side of the pool, which is something she would have never done before, even if I'm catching her, to see that smile on her face and know that she's overcome a fear, that hug that she gives you, it's like... And if we want to talk about my own childhood moment, this weekend we rented a slip and slide for the 4th of July, or for the Saturday after the 4th of July. And it was literally like being a kid again. I mean, running across the yard, diving onto the slip and slide. You wind up in this little 2.5 foot deep pool at the end, slide into this pool at the end. Dude, you can't help but smile when you do something like that.
Yeah.
At almost...
Well, because your inner kid's still in you all the time. We just don't let the kid out like we should.
I saw this video of this guy that was in his 90s. It was, you know, obviously entering into or already in the last stages of his life. And all he wanted to do was go swimming. So his daughter, like, rented out a pool somewhere. And he got in the water and he was just jumping and splashing. And the guy's like 95 years old. And that kid is still in there, you know. And, you know, he probably has some physical mobility. Miss Kathy.
Always Miss Kathy.
Definitely thought it was on silent mode. I'm sorry. But, you know, he definitely has some physical mobility issues. And, you know, to have that weightlessness in the water and that ability to move around freely, you had to feel so, you could just see it on his face. And, you know, I had that same feeling this weekend. You could see it on my face. I was like smiling ear to ear, you know, and we just rented another slip and slide for Ella's 15th birthday party. They didn't have the slip and slide. So this is a 22-foot water slide that has a little, you know, goes down the slide and then out and comes out into a little pool at the end. So that's going to be a ton of fun. And we're going to have our friends over. We talked about going and picking up our projector and our screen so we can do an outdoor movie night, maybe rent a snow cone machine, popcorn machine or something. So it'll be a ton of fun.
Fun.
Yeah.
You excited?
Oh boy, am I. I am jumping for joy right now. You can't see me, but I am. And if they tell you I'm lying, I'm not.
She's totally not jumping.
He's a liar.
So what's it been like having a kid in college? Because I'm going to be crossing that threshold. You know, Noah may not do a traditional college environment.
Yeah.
But he's going to do some kind of continuing education.
But you know, Nate, he's always been more adult-like than most other kids. Like,
yeah, he's definitely got an old man soul.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't do a lot of, like, dumb stuff that I did when I was a kid, for sure. And he just focuses, he locks down on what he needs to lock down on, and he just focuses on it, and he gets it done. Like, I mean, he finished the first year. I'm not sure if both semesters were on the dean's list, but they were both on the
president's list.
Or no, vice versa. I don't know if he's going to be on the president's list, but he's going to be on the dean's list.
Yeah. And Nate just, you know, he naturally, you know, smart, and he's pretty easygoing. And he's super dependable.
Yeah.
You know, there's never been a time where I haven't called Nate and he be like totally down for doing something, or like always willing to help somebody else out. And I think that's definitely a trait that he got from you, is like, you know, just being a caretaker of others,
yeah,
you know?
He definitely got that from me and Jackie both. And
yeah.
Like we're the worst part is I think he got like, you know, that from both of us, but then he got the like big heart from his mom where he doesn't know how to say no sometimes.
Exactly.
It doesn't have the...
and sometimes it creates unhealthy boundaries. Yeah.
I mean, which I can go over the line too and give too much away. But I mean, that's just how we are as as a family.
But I think we both have different fathers, that we learn things from. I look up to your dad 100%.
Yeah.
Papa Lou is probably one of the most important people in my life. And, like, I've always said, like, I'm so thankful for my dad. And you wouldn't think it if you ever met my dad, but having a piece of shit dad has made me into a better father.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't. My dad was an abusive alcoholic. He still is an alcoholic, somewhat functioning alcoholic. I wouldn't say functioning because he can't manage his own finances, can't manage his own household, but he somehow finds his way to wake up in the morning and navigate life through his alcoholism. I think he has a bunch of people that enable him.
Yeah. Which is hard too. I mean, when you got your own addictions and you're trying to survive life too, it doesn't make it easy for the ones around you. That's for sure.
No,
I mean, you grew up like that.
And he had an amazing father, but I think as he became an adult, he found out he was adopted. He met his biological parents. There was some abandonment issues even after meeting his biological mother, where she didn't want anything to do with him after they met. And I know all that has played a major factor on his alcoholism and his mental health and stuff like that. But I think he refuses to get any help for it, and he chooses to medicate through his alcoholism. And
it happens a lot.
And, I can have a drink or two and manage it. I just choose not to because I know it's a very slippery slope for me.
Yeah.
I have a very addictive personality. And so while I can have a beer or two and stop, it's very easy for me to cross that line and not be able to stop. So I just choose not to. And I'm, like I said, I'm thankful to my dad for the person that he was because it's made me a better parent. I wish that my dad had a relationship with my children, but in the state of mind that he's in right now and the point of life that he's in, and he's so, selfish and wrapped up in himself, that it's better that they don't have a relationship,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've been there with my Papa Lou's dad too.
Yeah.
Like, I thought everything was good, but it turns out things were not good, and he was not a healthy person to be around. And when you're a kid, you don't even know what's happening until later on too.
Exactly.
So it leaves you with this confused feeling that you got to try to figure out in your adulthood. So let me ask you a question then, because I have some questions. This is actually for both of us. What we thought parenting would be like versus what it actually really is.
I think when you get into it, and I think definitely like TV shows and stuff like that growing up gave us a false sense of like what parenting is.
I think it gave us a false sense of everything.
Yeah. And, some days you feel like you have it all together and you got to figure it out. And then other days, it's a struggle to just get your kids McDonald's for dinner.
Yeah.
Because, you're battling your own demons and issues and stuff like that. And you have the stress of raising a family and stuff like that. And wondering if you're enough, but still not trying to project your stress and stuff onto your kids and your wife. And,
yeah,
I think being a man, there's certain responsibilities of, whether they be physical or financial. And, sometimes we keep that monster inside of us to the point where it eats at our own stress and stuff like that and causes unhealthy things to happen.
But does some of that come from the same TV shows?
Exactly.
I agree with you there. I think, TV paints a false picture of a lot of things, most things. And then once you're in there, like you said, you don't want to bring up stuff. You're trying to carry stuff. You don't want your kids to know that you're struggling to keep lights on or water on in the house or trying to make the mortgage payment. Like,
my kids know, there's been days where the lights have turned off and it's been a day or two before I can figure out what's going on. Or we went one time 6 months without hot water. We had water and we were like boiling water. It was a maintenance issue where we had to get a gas line repaired before they would turn the gas back on. There was like a
You just did cold immersion therapy, and you didn't,
I mastered
not
it.
by choice.
I mastered the cold shower, but I didn't want the kids taking a cold shower, so we heat up water on the stove and draw a bath for them to where it was, a warm bath. Or a couple times we went to my sister's house, and the kids took a shower over there, and we just did what we had to do to get through.
Yeah, I think that's the thing of it is like you think it's going to be like sunshines and rainbows, and the kids are going to be doing sports and doing this and doing that, and then you realize your kid's not into any of the same things that you were into, and you're trying to learn about stuff that you never thought you would want to learn about.
Oh, yeah. And I'm so thankful for Bethany because she has the ability to, where I'm the more physically, making sure the rent gets paid, making sure the lights get paid and stuff like that, or, scheduling payments, the financial one, where she is so emotionally supportive to the kids, where I try to be, but it's difficult for me. So, and that's where, in a marriage, there's a yin and there's a yang, and there's a, we both rely on each other's strengths and pick up, where there are some shortcomings.
Yeah. And that's what a partnership's supposed to be about.
And
you're right, it's a yin and yang.
Yeah, she's so good with, and I'm so thankful for it, that she's so good with, immersing herself in the interest of the kids. Because, I love playing Mario with Noah, and I love playing Mario Kart and stuff like that. We play board games together. I love doing that. Play cards. He loves playing cards. But, some of the indie games that he's into is just, I just don't understand them. And I just don't have a brain to understand them. But Bethany will go in there and spend hours with him just watching him play a video game, and learning the lore behind the video games, or the backstory, or knowing each individual character. Or she's perfect at buying them the perfect gift that would, for Christmas or their birthdays, or just because, they're having a rough day or whatever, just get them a little pick-me-up. Yeah. Where I'm more of a snow shack dad. I'm more a physical, I'm the fun one. Bethany's super fun too, but I'm the guy that will, on a whim, rent a slip and slide, and here recently with, changes in, financial status, it's become easier to be the more fun parent and say, let's go do this, when when the resources were a little stricter, we didn't, it was more difficult to make those decisions and do those things when the resources were more limited. But yeah, like we said, it's definitely like a yin and yang, of give and take, and there's some days when Bethany's Crohn's acting up and I have to step up more physically, and there's some days where I'm having a not great mental health day, and Bethany's like, hey, just take a break, I got it, and there's other days where I'm like, hey, I know you're not feeling well, take a break, or I see you need, go shopping, go do something outside of the house for a second, I got the kids, they're safe. But like you were saying with the activities, our kids have never been huge into activities, and now Rue's in swim lessons, and Ella's getting ready to start color guard at school, and that's going to be take her to school at 8 and pick her up at 5, but still manage getting Rue to swim lessons at 6 o'clock. And, our Friday nights are getting ready to be full with football games and color guard activities. And so.
Yeah, my bad, guys. Sorry. My bad.
So how do you brought this up, but how do you think mental health challenges show up in your parenting?
Well, I know the struggles that I had as a kid and stuff like that, and so trying not to repeat those same mistakes. But you know, I've been out of work.
That's part of the second part of this question is like guilt and pressure, and not to repeat generational trauma.
Yeah, like I said, like that's one thing. My dad, like I said, was an abusive alcoholic, and my mother was depressed and managed it through unhealthy eating habits, and I definitely absorbed some of those.
Yeah, one of the things I tell Nate all the time is like, as his parent, the only thing that we're trying to do is to make his life a little bit easier than ours was. And I know that's exactly what my parents were trying to do, whether, they accomplish all that great or just, I try to remember that, they were just trying to handle their own shit too. And because that's one thing that the older I get and the longer I've been a parent that I realize is like, we're all just trying to figure out our own shit.
Yeah, just day to day. And I think, there's more resources for us now than there were for our parents. And I think, as time goes on, there'll be more resources. But I also think that sometimes, they've got into this social wokeness that some people think that there's like an entitlement. And I think sometimes a healthy amount of struggle is healthy. You know what I mean? Just to keep you humble. You know what I mean? To let you know that, everything is not going to be okay all the time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things as a parent is like whether, you don't want to be the person that's a helicopter parent, but you also, anytime you see your kid fall, yours this like instinct is to run over and pick them back up.
Exactly. And it's okay to fall.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the best things that happened to me was when I was in the military. I went to school in Florida and I asked for orders to Washington, D.C. And I know that with the job that I had in the military, that was definitely a possibility that I could have been. And, I requested to be in D.C. and I got Washington all right. Smack dab in between Seattle and Vancouver, Canada. And at the moment, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm all the way across the country. Hindsight, best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah. I
needed to be 3,000 miles away from home to grow up. Not that I wouldn't have thrived in DC, but I missed my friends, I missed my family, I missed hanging out with you and the guys on the weekends and stuff like that. But I needed to be that far away to grow up, and it made the times that I came home all that more special because I knew we're on a limited window. Definitely got to hang out with Josh and my buddies, and definitely got to spend time with my family. And so being further away, and that's what I tell Ella is sometimes I wonder with Ella, Ella's very independent, and thank goodness she is because, and she's independent and she's opinionated sometimes more so than I like, but I'm so thankful that she's smart and intelligent and she has my sense of humor, but she also is able to stand up for herself where some kids her age won't. And she'll even be at her father. She's had to put me in check a couple times. And I had to say, you know what, you're absolutely right. And
that's great, because one of the questions I have is what we've learned from our kids. What have you learned from her?
Is that you have to let them be themselves. When she started dyeing her hair and, she started cutting her own hair at a very young age. I think she was 3 on Mother's Day. My wife wakes up and runs her fingers through her daughter's hair and clumps of hair come out in her hand. And I think
Mother's Day,
when she was like 10 or so, at one point she wanted to shave one side of her head.
Oh God, don't remind me.
But, she has her own style, And, I tried to make her the Gap kid and, what people would consider popular or preppy or whatever. And she's like, that's not who I am. I'm this kid that likes punk rock music. But it's also taught me to like embrace differences. Like, her style of music is not my style of music, but I definitely now have an appreciation. Like one day we did a thing called, we loathed.
We loathed. Let me tell you. Give me the microphone. We need to have another loathe session sometime. But my mom wasn't feeling too well to just hang out in my room and listen to music with me. And she really likes my kind of music because she, at my age and when she was in college, she liked the kind of music I liked, but she wasn't feeling good. So I was like, hey, Dad, do you want to come in my room and listen to some music, Pure Seville, My Chem, all that? And he was like, yeah. And we just sat in my room with all my red lights and stuff, and we played Block Blast and listened to My Chemical
you were
Romance.
Totally vibing out?
Oh, we were vibing.
We were, and I need times and there's times where she'll come out and just hang out with me in the garage, and she's thrown darts a couple times, and she's really good at the ring and hook game.
No, I'm not. I crashed out when I lost the first time.
She did stomp off angrily when she didn't win, but it's when kids are little and you let them win and stuff like that, and then
I didn't play that game.
I used to with Noah with Mario Kart. I think I've said it before. I have to let him win. Now it's like, dude, it's a struggle to come in second.
Me and Nate actually had this conversation the other day where I was told him I'd never let him win in anything, and I don't know if it's just because like my family was always so competitive about everything, but I said, what's going to feel better now? Like when you actually beat me for reals? And he was like, yeah, I'm so glad you never just let me win in different things. He goes, because now it's going to feel better. And now I'm like, okay, well, I did the right thing with him. I was like, because there's been times where I was like, should I have let him win more? Should I not let him win? But now he's like, oh, I'm glad you didn't do that.
Oh, I wonder how many times my parents question their parenting decisions. I definitely question my parenting decisions sometimes. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have reacted like that. Like, come on, what are you thinking, man? And, but I think it's great for your kids to see that their parents have faults, and it's okay to not be perfect all the time, and that's what true growth is to have those adverse moments, then have a period of reflection, and then have, try to make a conscious effort not to make those same decisions going forward.
Yeah.
So I think, it's good for your kids to see you grow. We don't, I want my kids, I want better for my kids than I have. I think, luckily I have it. I don't have the same struggles that my parents had, in some aspects. In some aspects I do. But, just seeing all their individual personalities and, still trying to hold on to that innocence of, we talked about in the Christmas episode, there's been, you can say Santa Claus isn't real if you want to, but there's been some Christmases where we weren't sure what was going to happen, and they wound up being some of the best Christmases we ever had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to tell a story about Santa. Can I after?
Yeah, you sure, absolutely. But we have one that's 8, almost 9, and we're still holding on to that little bit of innocence, And so, once that ship has sailed on that one, then, it's like they're all becoming young adults, I mean, I think, Rue has a way to go before young adulthood, but, letting Ella go out on her own and maybe make some poor decisions, but she's had to learn to deal with the consequences of those poor decisions, and we try to deal with them on a healthy level without, totally, beating her up about it, emotionally or verbally. And I think if anything, I've learned to handle that a little bit better.
I think one of the things that I learned from Nate the most is I've seen like some of my bad habits that he's picked up over the years, and like it makes me I see them, and so it's making me work on them for myself, which I think is kind of cool and something that's really been helping me out a lot, I think.
Ella, what's the story you want to share?
So we talked about believing in Santa just a few minutes ago, and I'd like to tell a little story. For Christmas, when I was like 6 or 7, I asked for a bike, I think. And on Christmas Eve, I was like, I'm kind of thirsty. Let me go down and get some water. It was about like, it was like 3 a.m. I go down, and at the time we had, what was it? My room was kind of like a loft, and there was and you could see over the loft down at the living room. And you put presents in the living room on Christmas. So I went to go walk downstairs, and my 7 or 6-year-old self looked down, and I see my parents putting together a bike that I had asked Santa for, and they told me, "Oh, Santa was running late, so we had to put it together for him."
That bike was definitely delivered unassembled. He said, Santa told me, dude, I didn't have enough time. So I'm going to need you to throw this one together for me.
Elf got behind us here.
Yeah.
Santa, I mean, my family's always like, if you don't believe, you don't receive. So
exactly.
We believe.
Exactly. And there's definitely been Christmases where it's been like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm like, I hope they should stay in bed because this dollhouse is not assembled yet. And I've got, instructions laid out and tools everywhere. And I think at one point I got about 3/4 away assembling a 3-story Disney princess castle before I realized that the second story was upside down. And so I had to take it off, unassemble it, flip it over. And looking back, I don't think they would have known it was upside down or not, but I think, I wanted them to have exactly what they wanted. And
I mean, that's what we're trying to do all the time is, just give them everything we didn't have.
Ella,
with them.
Ella, what's some funny story, like a funny story that you look back on your childhood, like about me or your mom?
Oh,
doesn't have to be Christmas.
Hard. That's hard. I remember a lot of my childhood, actually. Like, at all.
What's a cool trip that you think of that we took?
It's always Shenandoah Valley Campground. It's always Shenandoah Valley. Always. Or we went to Misty Mountains one time.
Yeah, we went a couple times to Misty Mountains.
A couple times?
Yeah.
I only remember once.
2 different cabins up there.
I only remember once.
Does this mean you're ready for the hot seat? Because I got questions for you.
Oh, okay.
All right, so what do you think a parent's job is?
A parent's job, make sure their kid is happy and healthy mentally and physically, both. Some parents are like, oh, I don't care about my kid's mental health, they gotta toughen up somehow. I'm like, no. I mean, yeah, they can go through a little bit of hardship, but don't completely ignore your kid's mental health.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
How do you think parents and grown-ups can do a better job of understanding that?
Pay more attention to your kids, please. Talk to them, have a real conversation, and don't treat them like they're lower than you. Speak to them as if they're an equal.
I love it.
How do you think your parents have done in the past or gotten better?
Oh, trash. Roast them right now.
Okay, good.
You used to be really fat.
We've already covered that topic.
Okay. At least 3 different episodes.
Okay, seriously. So I guess having a kid who's more alternative, me who like dyes their hair and has very big opinions on everything. I guess it's like improved how they see things and be more open-minded to things because you used to be like against
You can keep.
Dad used to be against a bunch of like my dad what do you call him on here? Mac, he used to be against like all of that, like anything that's not like straight edge, like he used to be against all that stuff, like
anything
hair dye,
alternative.
yeah, all that music. He was like, oh, that's demonic. But when your kid is open to that, you have to be more open-minded. And it goes for my mom too, but she was a bit more open-minded to begin with because of how she was like in college and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still like she's gotten so much better. And
I would definitely say your mom's way more odd than your dad.
Yeah.
That's for sure. What do you love most about your family?
How non-serious we are.
Yeah.
We don't take ourselves seriously at all.
I do think that can be a real problem. People taking themselves way too serious.
Yeah, like you can't have a good family dynamic if you are constantly serious. You have to have like funny conversations. You have to have a friendship before you can have like a family.
Oh, I like that. What's something you think that grown-ups don't understand about kids? Or you think they lose something?
They lose something?
Like they forget kind of what it's like to be a kid?
You still have feelings when you're a kid. And people think, oh, they're kids, they're like, what they say doesn't matter. No, they still have opinions, they're still humans, they're just tiny humans.
Yeah. Do you think we kind of get it wrong on validating how much feelings teenagers have? Because y'all have so many feelings.
We have too many feelings. We have too many feelings. And a lot of times when teenagers speak their opinions, they're often seen as, oh, they're just going through like this rebellious phase. No, we want you to listen to us, to what we have to say, because you're going to have to rely on us in the future.
Who's going to take you to the home, bruh?
Yeah, like she said, having a kid that's a little bit alternative has definitely opened my eyes up. And like I said, when she was little, I tried to make her into this little preppy girl because I knew things would be, socially easier for her. But she's also taught me that it's okay to be a little bit different. It's okay to be your own person and enjoy the things that you're going to. And, she has a really good group of friends right now. She's definitely found her own little circle. And that's awesome. They're a cool group of kids. And, our house has kind of become a bit of a hangout house. And I enjoy it because I get to see her interact with her friends. And, her boyfriend comes over and they watch movies in the living room, which, I wish they'd save a little room in between them for Jesus,
I always enjoyed being the hangout house.
Yeah.
Hangout house is awesome.
Yeah, it is. Because for one, it keeps me young. For two, I am a people person. Oh. So, I like making sure the kids have the snacks they want and, everybody's having a good time. And, but also, if they're here, if they're at my house, I can monitor what's going on, where I don't have, and set healthy boundaries. I want her to have a little bit of independence and I want her to be the things that she's into. And like we talked about, one thing that's been cool as she's gotten older and wanted to do more things is being, having experiences with her and taking her to shows, whether it be a comedy show to see her favorite YouTuber, or because I know that Josh and I are her favorite podcasters.
Oh, really? No.
Listen to every episode twice.
Or my wife. I wish she would listen to them twice. We'd have twice as many viewers, as many downloads. I need you to listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. No, but my wife takes her to some concerts. I've offered to take her to some concerts. And like I said, while it's not typically what I would be into, it's cool watching her be into what she's into. And sometimes I wonder, should I save money for college or save money for bail or a combination of the both?
Bail? Hold on. I don't think I'm going to be a criminal. I don't think so.
But, I joke around with her that, like, I've never been to New York City, nor do I have a desire to go to New York City, but I believe that one day I will be driving to New York City to retrieve her when she calls me and tells me, Dad, I'm ready to come home. And so that may be my first and only trip to New York. But, she likes dyeing her hair and, being into the clothes and stuff that she's into. And, she wants to be a hairdresser or a stylist. And so seeing her kind of navigate what it takes to get into the cosmetology program or, no, good. Being, seeing her do that, and I'm thinking one day I will no longer have to pay for haircuts.
Oh, no, you will. You'll just have like a 10% gift discount.
If I finance you going to cosmetology school, I will not be paying for haircuts. So
it pays for itself on the back end.
Yeah. I want her to explore the world. I want her to try different things. I never thought that one day I would be working in a prison, and then there was a point in my life where I thought there's one day I would never not be working in a prison,
Yeah.
Now you're unemployed.
I'm fun employed.
Yeah, fun employed.
So that's my responsibility right now, is to have fun with my kids. And I'm enjoying this stage of life as a parent.
Back to the hot seat.
Oh, Lord. Hey, guys.
So, what's something your dad does that makes you feel really happy or proud of him?
When he references something that he knows I like when he's like, "Oh, did you hear about did you hear about Pierce Surveill's that airplane incident?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I didn't know about that. Thank you for telling me. I'm glad you're in the interest circles I'm in,
Google, it's paying off."
I searched for concert tickets 2 times for it. All of a sudden, I'm on the Pierce the Veil fan page.
Moderator.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's see. What other questions I have for you? If you were the parent for one day, what would the rules be? Would they change anything?
Probably not.
Yeah. You think they're doing a good job?
I mean, they're not very strict.
Oh, she likes that.
We can fix that.
I don't want you to. We're good.
Yeah, we're not overly strict. I think, and it's still new to us because, my parents were stricter with me because I was the first, and so I knew, and then it's like, by the time they were a little strict with my sister Frances, and by the time they were with Emily, it was like,
oh, so that's what happened.
That's the problem.
That's what happened.
Yeah. It's
But
like they always show you the first kid you care about, the formula, the diaper, the brand,
exactly
everything's got to be, and then the second kid you're just like YOLO.
Yeah. I think one of the funniest gifts I ever got, and it wound up being, we had a baby shower, and when Ella was born, we had a baby shower, and everybody brought gifts, and my dad gives us a box of size 4 diapers, and I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? What is? And so we just put them in the closet, and there was one day, it was getting close to payday, funds were real limited. We had we're out of diapers or whatever. And I'm like, how are we going to scrape up money to get diapers for this kid? And then I'm thinking she's in like a size 3 at the time. And I'm like, this motherfucker. There is a Costco size box of size 4s in the back of the closet. And they saved the day. So, I mean.
Maybe he's wise beyond his years and you don't even know yet.
Yeah.
Maybe he saw into the future. He had like a vision.
Yeah. So, it's like, I don't want to be too strict with her, but I want, when she does things that I'm not fond of, you know, I've never been take the cell phone parent or you're grounded or whatever. You know, I let her know that, like, hey, I'm not happy with your decision. There's going to be some limitations, you know, and this is, you know, where we are going forward. And if I am stricter about stuff like this going forward, your actions are the reason why, you know.
So, are there times that you think they should have been more strict with you that they didn't because you said they're not strict at all?
I mean, they're strict. They're strict, but not in like a regular parent kind of way. They're more emotionally strict than physically strict. They don't like take things away. They don't like, obviously no physical stuff. They don't take stuff away, no grounding, but there is a very uncomfortable conversation that comes with it, and I think that's a good way to deal with it. And if it happens again, then I think then something should happen.
Didn't buy iPhone.
We had a recent incident
That we won't talk about on the podcast. I don't consent.
where Ella made a decision and there were consequences for her actions. And when I had to go pick her up from where she was, you know, she's like, it's okay for you to be mad at me. And I said, no. Don't think I'm not mad. You know, a 3-hour long car ride is not the time to, but I think she honestly knows how I felt about the situation and that I was disappointed in her. And I think she was disappointed in herself, and no amount of scolding or yelling or punishment I was going to do was going to be, you know.
Yeah.
And I made the same decision that she made when I was her age and I was away from home. I made the same decision. And when I got home, I went to look for something and it wasn't there. And my dad beat my ass with a belt. And that wasn't a healthy way to handle it either.
No.
So, you know, the you know, her beating herself up and, you know, the disappointment that she felt in herself, and she knew that we were disappointed in her for the decision that she made. That was punishment enough for the time, you know? And I think going forward, we're not going to make that same decision again, are we?
Nuh-uh.
Even when I asked her prior to going to this place.
She set her boundary, bro.
I'm not crossing the boundary.
She's not talking about it on the podcast. Yeah, I appreciate
I
that.
don't want randoms on the internet in my business.
There you go.
I don't think you have to worry about very many randoms on the internet.
Okay.
The one guy in Ukraine figured out what you did.
He's gonna find out. He might be a Fed.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, he's on the front line trying to make it through.
Let's go back to what you want to be when you grow up and why you want to be.
Hairdresser.
Why?
Hairdresser. Why? Because I like hair. I like dye my hair like 3 times a week. It's been red for about 3 years.
Yeah. So what about the industry like draws you to just being able to change your style or being able to express who you are more?
Yeah, I feel like the way you do your hair tells a lot about yourself. Like I have
bald, and so I can't grow it.
I guess
Okay.
that works.
My haircut tells the world.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of it's kind of like patchy. You might just want to shave it off at this point.
I do. It's just it was lazy.
I think one thing about Ella is she's awesome with other people. And while she annoys her brother, she understands some of his neurodivergency. And I think she loves helping. And so I think she's learned to express herself through her hair and her style and stuff like that. And she would love to help other people achieve those same goals and be able to, manage their own, help them navigate their own world through their own style and help them that way. I don't know if you want to add.
I'm also neurodivergent. I have ADHD and with OCD tendencies. But I feel like when you're neurodivergent, you end up being a lot more like, you end up expressing yourself through the way you look a lot more because it's hard to verbalize it. And it's sad because a lot of kids get bullied because of it. It ends up like a very bad pattern for neurodivergent kids to get bullied because they decide.
Things are getting better about that? Or worse?
Oh, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse?
It's getting worse. It's getting worse. 7th grade, don't get me started.
Yeah.
7th grade was horrible.
And I think we saw some of it with Noah when he was in 6th grade, transition from elementary school to middle school.
Middle school?
Middle school's the worst place on earth. I think there's a reason they isolate those kids for you go 5 years.
Those 3 years is like, these are horrible humans.
Well,
all trying to figure out how to become good ones.
And maybe I did Noah a disservice because, he would see me interact with my friends, or he would see me interact with some of my sisters or whatever. And I have a very joking personality. So me and you, we kind of joke with each other. We'll kind of give each other a hard time or whatever. And he saw some of that. But what these kids were doing was actively bullying him, And because he doesn't pick up, because of autism, he doesn't pick up on certain social cues. And so he didn't recognize it. And the middle school lunchroom, there's no supervision.
It's like the Wild West in the middle school.
Yeah, it's like 600 kids and 3 people monitoring this lunchroom. And so, with Ella, we saw some of those things, and she's a kid. So we pulled Noah out of school and let him do homeschool. And with Ella, she needs that social interaction. So it's important, we talked about putting her in a private Christian school, and she expressed to us that's not what she wanted. Rue has expressed to us that she wants to go to the same school that, our friend's daughter goes to. And I think she would do better with a smaller group of people, a smaller core group, and Ella has a friend set, and they're awesome. And the more that I hang out with them, the more I like them. One of them I like less than the others, but only because that's her boyfriend. And like I said, that's become difficult for me to manage as well. So, but I'm doing the best I can, and I think I'm handling it in a healthy manner. I haven't, beat him up or yelled at him. Or
do you think he's doing a good job with your boyfriend?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good, I'd say. He's doing good. I thought he'd be much more against me having a boyfriend than he is, but no, he actually seems to like my boyfriend a lot.
He surprised you, huh?
I think a lot is a bit of a stretch. I like him. I tolerate him. But I know he's important to you right now. So, and that's important. And I want to, support the things that you like. And so, and I do like that he doesn't mind coming to our house and hanging out and stuff like that. But, I like the idea of some boy holding hands with my little princess? No.
Your little princess.
I'm
4 years off of being a legal adult.
You're always
3 years off.
Never,
it's not ever going to change.
He's going to be 40 years old and he's going to be saying the same thing.
Yeah. And
it's going to be your wedding day and he's still going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
My baby girl.
I dread those days, but I look forward to those milestones for her. Gaining her own independence. And, I think Noah will probably live with us for a long time. Ella, I think the day that she turns 18,
Later, Gators.
Yeah, she's out. She's out like a fat kid in dodgeball. So, but I think a lot of ways Ella and I are so similar. We're both sarcastic. We both enjoy, comedy and lightheartedness. But she also has a level of seriousness to her that I appreciate. And when she doesn't like something, or she doesn't like something someone's done, she's gonna let you know about it. And I appreciate I'm so thankful that she's able to stick up for herself.
Yeah, that's really good.
I'm so proud of her for that.
Thank you.
So we're over an hour, but I still have a few more questions.
Okay.
And it just kind of goes with their theme of our podcast of being better every day. So what's something you're trying to get better at?
Not getting upset so easily. I get upset really easily. I had a lot of anger issues when I was little, a couple of broken electronics. I've gotten better physically, but I get really upset easily. Like, I don't break stuff anymore, but...
I'm 42 and I'm still trying to do that, so...
Okay, so it doesn't get better.
I just wish you the best of luck, and I'm glad you're working on it now. I had no sense when I was a teenager that's something you work on. I just something you had to live with.
And I know she does struggle with her emotions, and that's something I do too. I'm the kind of person that will bottle everything up until I explode. And I think, she has I see a lot of myself in her. She has a very, low threshold for bullshit, and, things quickly escalate sometimes to a level where I don't think they should be, but, I am thankful that she is able to advocate for herself. And sometimes she knows, like, hey, it's just, her friends came over for a couple days in a row, and I think today she's going to a cookout, but I think tomorrow she's going to need a break from socializing. And that's one thing my wife and I talked about with her. She does, Ella is able to give an exorbitant amount, but then she also has to have an adequate amount of downtime as well. And we're worried about, with the schedule of the color guard, it's Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5. It's the middle of the summer, so she's getting a break from school and stuff, but now we're throwing on this huge responsibility, and it's not just a responsibility for her, but because she doesn't drive yet, it's a responsibility for us to get her there and pick her up and stuff like that, which is not a problem. But I know that, like, she's going to be exhausted by lunchtime they're going to do Monday and Tuesday. She'll probably be fine by lunchtime on Wednesday. She's not going to want to be there anymore. But if she makes a commitment to this, I want to make sure that she sees it through, and it's not just something that we start something and then we quit, and then we start something else and try something else and quit. I want her to know that, like, if you're going to do this, I want you to stick through it, and I'm going to support you 100%. And even though I can't eat the donuts, I will sell all the donuts at the football games for the booster club. I will, I'll be the band dad. I will drive the trailer if they need me to. I will, I'll have every cool Hanover High School band t-shirt that they have. I'll have a sweatshirt and a hoodie. I'll have matching socks. I'll have the band dad hat. I'll wear the New Balances. Like,
I need to get shoes, by the way.
He's about to get a trumpet.
Yeah. I will be 100% that band dad.
About to be it.
But I want you to know that, like, you're going to have a lot of responsibility for this, and that you're going to it's going to take sacrifices away from, being able to spend as much time with your friends, because on Friday or Saturday, you're going to want downtime and stuff like that, and you're going to want to also hang out, but you have to find that healthy balance, And I think you're going to have some friends with you at band camp, which will make it easier.
Yeah, Kels is doing it.
Yeah, so that'll be good, but, I want you to know that, like...
Is he crying?
Nope.
This kid is crying.
Welcome to the podcast.
This kid is crying.
It's obviously the first time you've ever listened.
No matter what, I'm your biggest supporter. And right, wrong, or indifferent, like,
And put the hot seat back on me if you want.
No, I'll always be in your corner. Like, I want you to know that, like, no matter what time it is, like, if you're out and, you know, maybe you've done something you shouldn't have done, or maybe you've had a drink and, like, you ever think, like, you can't call me, like, I'll be there 2 in the, like, I went and picked you up from where I drove 3 hours to pick you up from where you were. But, like, right then and there, like, the most important thing for me was being there to support you. Whether you made a bad decision, we can deal with that later, you know, or whether you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, we can work that out later. Like, I want you to know that you always have, like, a safe place to go, like, that you're going to be okay, that your parents love you and support you, and that we'll always be there for you. That's what I want all my kids to know. So.
Thanks for crying over me, Dad. I appreciate that.
I cry over you more than you know.
Well, you know your dad.
Yeah, he's a very emotional guy.
That's why we all love him.
Yep.
So, I got 2 more questions for you.
All right.
And then we're done for the day.
Okay.
What do you think it means to be a good person?
A lot. It's very subjective. Some people. I don't think it's subjective, but a lot of people say different. Like, to be a good person, there are different things. But I'd say a good person, just straight. They care about others. They take care of others. They just care about a lot of stuff. Like, they understand others' feelings, or they try to understand them. But they also care about themselves. A lot of people will be like, oh, that's selfish. No, it's not. To be a good person, you have to understand yourself first.
Ooh, that's deep. I like it.
I know.
All right, one last question. If someone's having a bad day, what would you tell them?
It's really not that serious. Like, it's just one day. Just forget about it. Like, wait until tomorrow. You'll feel better. Every time I'm, like, upset about something, I always tell myself, why are you so dramatic? like, this will not matter in the long run at all. Okay? Tomorrow is just a completely new day. People, if I've embarrassed myself, people will probably forget about it in the next 2 hours. But if, like, you're upset about something that's, like, long term, I'd say try just distract yourself. Go hang out with people you care about. Do something you like. Go for a walk. Clear your mind. Play a video game. And just try to distract yourself.
Dude, you did it. That was good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, don't take life too seriously. No one makes it out alive. You know, and I think, you know, for me, you know, the biggest thing about raising kids is I want to put healthy, functioning people out into the world that are going to make a difference. And, like, you know, even if, like, my life, I don't, you know, I have a huge impact on the 3 people, you know, that we're raising, and that, you know, I just want to put good people out into the world that are going to do good things, that are going to support other people, that are going to be healthy, functioning adults that, you know, recognize good from evil, and if we put some good Christian principles into them, you know, and raise them with a sense of self and community, and that's what it's about for me.
Nice. You want to read the quote of the day today?
I do.
You want to read it?
I want to read it.
Marcus Aurelius.
Some big words in here. There is but one thing of real value, to cultivate the truth and justice, and to live without anger in the midst of lying and unjust men. Marcus Aurelius.
Sounds good. Take us out.
Hope you guys had fun listening to us. I hope I make you laugh. I know these two don't. Have a good day. Bye bye. And be better every day. Bye bye.